Good evening and welcome to E-Curious Minds. Here we are with Boaler's mathematical mindset. Yes, this is going to be our third session and we are clubbing 2 chapters to understand more as the session has started for us, that how we can develop that mathematical mindset in our children and how we can shape up their life as math is all around us. So today, Namita and Anupama are going to lead us. Over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Pallavi. So I am going to start sharing screen and would request everybody. I'll share the link in the chat also.
And we
so
see
we
some
can,
responses.
we can just click on the link and join the paid deck. Yeah. There are only 2 students. Yes.
It requires Gmail, right?
Yeah. You can use the code and just start. Yeah. So I'm going to begin. I can see 7 have joined in. You can join in between also. So I'm going to begin the session. So good evening, everybody. So let's take forward the journey of reading Boaler's book on mathematical mindsets and how we can incorporate interest and fun learning in math. Yeah. So these are the social handles for eCurious Mind, the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the YouTube channel. Please do like them and subscribe to them. Presenters are myself, Ms. Anupama. Ms. Namita, could you introduce?
Yes, hi, I'm Namita and I'm going to present with Anupama.
Okay. So as we shared the link 3 days in advance and we got everybody's feedback, thank you so much. I would like to begin with that. This is an interactive thing and we could all respond to this question on the PEDX slide. Just post your responses.
Anupama, can you please post the code once again, one of you?
Sure. I'll put in the chat.
Yeah, thanks.
I'll put the link.
Thank you.
If you just click on the link also, which is in the chat, it works beautifully. So just try that again.
I'll share it.
Okay.
Just share the code as well, please. Please
And
continue.
I just want to add
Sure.
that thank you so much for being honest and sharing where am I. I mean, I can see positions like 9, 10. People have really thought over it and put there, where am I, the monkey coding, which is lovely. Thank you.
So let's see where we would put that number, in which place.
Okay, yeah, for this.
We're waiting for responses.
I have a Pear Deck account, so I just need the code. I don't need the link. That is why I'm asking for the code if possible.
Okay. You'll have to go to the first slide, I think, right?
Okay, hold on. Because that was initially when I began. The code is mentioned here, GKD CFS.
Okay, there it is.
Top.
There it is. Fine.
Yeah.
GKD space CFS?
Yes.
Yeah,
Space,
GKD CFS. Yeah.
Space CFS.
Space CFS.
Yeah, space. Multiple of 2 and 5, yeah.
Anupama, just keep time in check.
Yes, yes. In the center. Odd and even. Okay. Interesting. In all three. Awesome. As a multiple of 5. So you see, as we're seeing, everybody is given almost the same responses. Some of them are saying it'll come in all three. So this throws open the question to the students and let them use their thinking skills and apply it, that where would they fit in 140. They might find patterns in it, that it's an odd number or an even number. It's a multiple of 2, it's a multiple of 5, and hence it would come in the middle, or it would come in all three. So we just throw open the responses to the students. Yeah. So I am going to see the responses in the center, and all three center, third as a multiple of 5. Okay. So we proceed to the next slide. And here we can collaborate and write down understanding of the 5 C's of mathematical mindsets from what we have read. How do we pique student curiosity and interest at the start of the lesson?
Just to recap, the 5 C's would be curiosity,
Collaboration,
Yeah.
creativity, critical thinking.
create provocative corners with some games like Jenga, Uno, Ludo, and ask them what mathematical concept they use. Thank you.
Nice. So everything what the kids have got around them, what is accessible to them. Okay, so this is like problem based. We throw open the problem and then we tell them to explore the options. Strategies of their own, correct?
Am I the only one typing?
Is everyone getting it? How to type the response? Because there's a lot
I
of
don't know.
silence. I mean, you
I can
even
see it's
share
going
it.
down. Yeah.
Has typed something, but how do you submit
I've
it? I'm
typed.
pressing.
Yeah, I've also typed, but I can't see
How
it
do
I
you-
can
going.
see this.
How do you submit it?
I think by default, it takes all the answers by scrolling down.
Oh,
Then you will see it
Yeah.
on the. Yeah,
So
I
I
am
can
also.
see all the responses. Give them a
Okay,
challenging
okay.
question or VTR, a visible thinking routine. Okay, apply the understanding of 5 C's. Okay, by asking
questions.
questions. challenge them through posing a problem. So this we did find very interesting. That's what it says in the book. Like we throw open the problem and you accept the strategies, the different strategies they come up with before teaching them the actual formal method or strategy would be more fun for them. A visible thinking routine, make them think. Collaborating, very important, yes, with peers, discussing and coming up with strategies and solutions. Perspective using grouping strategy, igniting the curiosity. Giving them a real life problem, interesting. Start with a provocation, don't give away the concept, let them guess what are we learning today. Yeah.
This keeps them engaged.
So, literature books, yeah, integration, correct. Ask open-ended questions that the students can relate to. Awesome. So yeah, we've got some great responses, and I think we have covered up building up curiosity, connecting it to real life, giving student agency to be as creative as possible, challenging them with higher ceiling, lower floor tasks, and letting them collaborate amongst themselves and incorporating peer learning, which is a more fun way of learning. So as all of you all responded very well there's so much we can do with just a packet of gems or skittles. Like we can just throw open a world of all mathematical concepts with these colorful sweets with the kids love so much, and they will always remember because they can connect to it. There was various responses, Miss Namita, if I'm not mistaken, about probabilities. Yeah, could you just read out, ma'am?
Yeah, sure. Should I say the name of the people as well? No need, right?
Okay, so we have various strategies.
It's always
good. So we have Nisha sharing that you can use it for sorting, classification, data handling, less or more, which is good for the early years, I suppose. Then Sonia has shared that you can actually use it for ratio and proportion because there are colors and numbers. You can use it for fractions, again, data handling, patterns, that's a good one. Rima, skip counting, doubles, addition, facts, graphing, patterning, area and perimeter, fact family, and probability. Pallavi has shared that we can use it for addition, multiplication, division, parallel lines, shapes. We can make shapes with that. That also can work. Then probability, chances of choosing a color, representing in the form of fractions, decimals. So since we are using manipulatives which the children enjoy using, it can be, you can use it for multiple purposes. Measurement as well. Somebody has shared that measurement as well.
So we got some great responses and ideas about how to use a packet of gems in the classroom and incite the curiosity in the children. Yes, ma'am, we can continue with this.
You want me to, should I take over?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. So,
can you hear me clearly?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Thanks. So we thought the chapter 6, I think, has this, it's focusing on how we can use the lesson to increase the the potential for learning. So we thought we'll explore it using this VTR Think Puzzle Explore, which I think you all have also answered to some extent. We had some examples. Can you go to the next slide? Should I share what's written on the Padlet first?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So how can we equally divide the gems, making sure everyone gets 5 different colors? So this is again asking a question to introduce the problem before giving them the method, and sharing in a ratio, expressing colors through a bar graph. And I think that's all the responses that are. So we thought of some more questions that we could connect. So the first one was, one of the things Joe Boaler mentioned is open the task to encourage multiple methods, pathways, and representations. So, if you're doing a fractions unit, you can say 2 fractions add up to half. What might the fractions be? So this gives them you can have multiple answers, multiple ways of arriving at the answer. Then ask the problem before teaching the method is another point. So, saying I multiplied 2 decimal numbers on a calculator and I got a whole number as an answer. So this, let them explore it, and then you could teach them the method about how you get a whole number when you're multiplying decimal numbers. And making it an inquiry task, like Sunni was carrying a small bucket which was full. When he put it on the weighing machine, it weighed 1 kg exactly. What might be in the bucket? I think this becomes a more visual, more of an inquiry task where they can go on wondering what could be put in a bucket which could add up to 1 kg. And adding a visual component, For example, if you draw an alphabet A on the grid paper, it would look like this. So what other letters can be made in 10 squares? So, this gives a visual element to the whole concept. Okay, next slide.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
We can use that, drag and drop this thing if we are clear about our understanding of how to children love math and create the mathematical mindsets. So I would like to add one interesting activity as Ms. Ramita we had done in class was giving children a story that Mr. Rajan had to plant yak pots, jasmine as well as rose pots on every third floor of his building, and the rose pots on every, I think, fourth, step of his building. And the kids came up with that visual representation. There were children who were drawing staircases. And then from that, we did not even have to teach them multiples as such. They came up with that concept on their own, and then they could even derive the common multiples which were there on each step, right, Ms. Ramita? Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll just see. Okay. Wow. This book is really helping us. Awesome.
If anyone would like to share other ideas, if you can just go back
Yes,
to
please
the
do.
previous slide, Miss.
Yes, please
The
give
previous,
time for collaboration also.
yeah. Please go to the
Yes.
slide before this, Miss, where there are 6 methods that she has shared, Miss Jo Boaler. The one before this, yeah. So we gave examples for no, the one after this. No. That's one where the grid paper.
Okay, yeah.
The next one.
This one?
No, the one where the 6 methods which are there. Think, puzzle, explore.
Ah, yeah, this one.
Yeah. So this is where she has mentioned the 6 things that you can keep in mind when you're planning your lesson, right? Open up the task, include inquiry opportunities, ask the problem before teaching the method, add a visual component. So we would like you to come up with, share some of the ideas that you have used in your class, lower floor and higher ceiling. Please do share so we can all,
So
collaborate.
I
benefit,
recently,
yeah.
because sorry, is someone,
Yeah, please carry on.
because we've just started this and we start with the place value system. So here, seeing the 4th point, that is the visual component, what I find is students are normally confused in place value and face value. So what I did, I made these cards, a small paper, this thing. I wrote all the digits from 0 to 9 and gave them randomly to students. And I said, okay, now I'm going to call out a number and you have to stand in that. So if I said, for example, 9,432. So the kids with that digit had to come in front and arrange themselves so that they make 9,432. So they understood that first. Then, for example, the kid who had 9 and he was in the 9,000s place, I made him shift 1 place. So I said, okay, just, come here to one place to your left. What happened now? In which place are you? So he was in the hundreds place. What happened to your value? It reduced, right? But is your face the same? So his face was still 9. So, it helped them this thing that, okay, my face remained the same, but because I changed my place, that means I changed my house, my value changed. And then each time they took a step. So they saw that also, the 9,990 and 9. So I said, but how much is it reducing? Each time you move just 1 place to your left or to your right. So they clearly got it. And the biggest thing was that they had fun. Moving around, talking, they were engaged. They were actually laughing and smiling during a boring math lesson of place value, face value. This is the first time I did something like this. Nahi to main bhi board pe hi karati thi. But I think, it worked well for the students. So this was like, the visual component.
Thank you, Sonia. Chandrai, you have something to share?
Yeah, I just typed in, if you all are familiar with Jodo Gyan material, MAN cards are very useful for children to be able to understand placement of numbers. And talking about Sonia's strategy, this works very well, and it also takes care of differentiation, because if you create groups and give them digits, all the digits, they can create different types of numbers, whether it's 4-digit, 5-digit, and make their own placements.
Very true. I would also like to share, I was doing rounding with my class recently, and an idea just came out to me just before the class. In fact, it was a very quick implementation. I put them in groups of 3 and gave them a number based on their levels, of course, and they had to create a human number line. So suppose I gave them 6,432. Okay. So and they had to come up with it. I did a demo. So one kid is 6,000, one kid is 7,000, and the 6,432 has to move closer to this if you have to round to the nearest. So yes, first they have to stand and then they have to move and say we are human number line. And if I round myself to the nearest 100 or nearest 1,000, I will be closer to 6,000, and they have to physically move towards the kid who's holding the 6,000 card, So that worked very well because I made 7 groups or 8 groups based on the number of students, and it worked very well in the class because the kids were engaged and they all had to think. And I grouped them as per their ability. So I gave 5-digit numbers to the ones who were more capable or could handle higher numbers, and I gave 4 digits or lower to the lower for differentiation basically. So, yeah.
Think when
So
kids
I
are
would just like to add
physically- yeah.
Go ahead. Chandra, please go ahead.
what also happens is the question of quantification. Do children know what does 5,420 look like? How much will that be? And what would be maybe 3,007, 3,407 for that matter? So, quantification should be really strong for them before they, I do notice, children just go into subtractions and additions of 4-digit numbers, but not really understanding how big is that number, or what could be the quantity associated with that number.
So I would like to add to what Ms. Chandra is saying. So we had an integrated story for this, visualizing how much is a million. And then
Yes,
the children
there's a
started visualizing how much is a million. Yeah.
million. That's a
Then the
book,
children
right? How
started
much is a
visualizing-
million?
Yeah, that's
very
a book.
popular.
Yeah.
book,
Yeah. Very popular book. And the children started visualizing, like they were in so much of awe. Okay, this is how much it would look like. As you said, they would quantify it, like, and they just started imagining, okay, how much, if this much is this much, 100,000, then how much would be 1 million? Maybe basically using coins or maybe using real life things, like, and they started imagining. We let the imaginations run wild. I would like to share that one project-based learning which I had incorporated in my class was for line graph. So I gave the children seeds to plant, and I told them to track it over a period of 15 to 20 days. So it went on for a longer time, but I made that boring line graph really fun. Over the holidays, the children were tracking the growth of the plant. Every second day, they were writing down the measurement of it, how much did it grow. In fact, they made a lot of other connections, like, some seeds were not as tall as the other one. And they really connected line graph very well to this. Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Ms. Purti, would you like to share something? Since you're
No,
seeing
please continue. No. Please continue. Yeah, I'll add in as and when.
Ms. Nisha, you're very quiet today.
No, I'm just listening to all the suggestions and everybody's sharing. So I've just put down in the chat, if we could share the books that we use in our school, we could put it in our chat, WhatsApp chat.
Yeah. I think that's going to be a good resource for us to go. And
Yeah.
what age group are you using? I think that is going to help us.
Paija mentioned, Math Start has lovely books for every concept, whether it's measurement or whether it's numbers, whether it is shape. So I always say that, literature helps. Start with a provocation of reading the story, and it kind of clears a lot of things and the good questions that come when you read the story. So Math Start is easy. It's graded according to levels 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's a probability book is really wonderful. So I'm just writing down all the books I've used.
Please, Chandra, can you put it down, because this is going to go away. Can you put it down on in the WhatsApp group, Joe Boaler's WhatsApp group?
Okay.
So there we can collate the data and use it in
So
the class.
you see, I did hear somebody saying, inquiry is happening all the time, right? So where is the provocation? Where do they ask the questions? What kind of questions are they asking? Are they asking questions which will lead to further inquiry? What resources are they using? So the 3 elements of the PYP really work together, right? What is it? Constructing meaning and transferring meaning and application.
Yes.
Constructing meaning,
Transferring meaning and applying.
And
So
applying.
this is
Applying
what
it.
we need to focus on. So when you're talking about constructing meaning, it's the whole thing of provocation, tuning in, finding out,
Modeling.
right? Modeling, using manipulatives. And of course, there is obviously a space for practicing the concepts as well. And I've taught math for many years. I love math. So I want to just share, fractions, like the assessment I did for my class for fractions in grade 5 was just to make a, innovative way of sharing fraction facts. So I just remember this is almost for 7-8 years ago, a class I was teaching. So they made mobile phones, and then on the screens, they gave all the facts, and that was the shop. So you went to the shop and you had to pick a mobile phone based on the facts. So it was very, very interesting. And I was not looking for question answers, I was just looking for the facts, whether they knew the fact and they could give an example of it. Just to share. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Interesting.
Divya,
Yeah,
you have
something
to
really
share?
innovative.
Divya, Reema.
Divya, ma'am.
So sorry. Good evening, everyone. This is my first time in this group. Thank you, Anupama ma'am, for letting me join in. It's a new learning for me also, because listening to all of you, I think even I am enriched, and even you all have probably just added that spark into my learning and teaching techniques also, where even I have decided that I think I need to start with a problem and then take the entire lesson forward. So thank you very much for that.
If I may also share, something that's happening in my school right now in the higher grades. We've just opened this week. So they were revising what they know and the prior knowledge. So one of the homeroom teachers, I think grade 5, gave them these, sentences, which were mathematical. Actually, they were problem sums, but they were put up as, so they had to identify language, which was mathematical. So basically looking for vocabulary, which was mathematical. So what they ended up doing was a word wall for words which were mathematical, and they were making those connections, and this was done collaboratively. So, we are going to be moving on, and it was really interesting. Children were engaged, they were making connections. Okay, start is also a word, which should be a mathematical word, in mathematics. So it was quite nice. They were coloring different colors, and, so it was just getting them to think about what they already knew, and, making the connection with language as well.
Sounds like a good activity. It would be nice if you could share
Yeah.
the sentences. Yeah.
Sentences were all problem sums. I don't teach, so I'll have to, reach out to somebody else and get. But you can take problem sums and make them into sentences. And they're also doing large numbers. So 1 or 2 were large numbers, because they are going into a unit on government systems. So there was I remember seeing one which was based on population. So then they did say, this is a really big number. We should have different ways of, saying this number. So it was them who was asking the questions and, identifying the language they would need.
Really interesting. Yeah. I also think that if you use the lens of key concepts, that also
Yes.
really helps and makes the kids look at it from a different viewpoint. Otherwise, they always connect math to form, function, and connection. So in our 2D shapes and 3D shapes, we made them look at perspective. Now, how does the shape look like? What is your perspective? From which angle? How will the shape look like? So a change, how can you change? So I think the lens of key concepts also helps the children to think and collaborate and come up with ideas.
I did that once with
Anupama, I'm
time.
wondering.
Time. If you look at it from
Go ahead, Sonia.
if you look at it from the different key concepts, so form, what does time look like? Analog, digital. How has it changed over the years? So pehle kaise the sundial, and now, then the 12-hour and the 24-hour. So that's also changed. Function, how does the clock work? Connection, where all is, how is time or that this thing connected to our real lives? So they realize that there are so many, the entire ways, the key concepts gave us a wholesome understanding of the concept of time. So that worked well, yes. Anupama.
I was just wondering, do you make transdisciplinary connections with math, or is it taught as a standalone?
It's a mix, I think.
Yeah, so so maybe it's quite a lot of interesting things that you can bring about. Even these key concept questions can be your points for reflection. So not necessarily, so I can understand what a large number looks like. I can understand what where it function, where it may be used, or how it works.
How it works.
Yes, I can make connections with large numbers. I know why large numbers are used, right? And also I can change large numbers through different operations maybe. So that's-
Responsibility also will come in.
Responsibility, yes. How can I use large numbers? And what do large numbers look like for me, and what could it look like somewhere else in the application in the real world perspective again? So you can use I can statements and get them to create, give them, like you all said, give them those key concept questions and tell them to convert them into, reflection points.
I think Miss Rima has been.
Yeah, Rima,
Yes,
go
Rima
ahead.
has her hand.
Thank you, Chandrai.
Yeah. Let me start. This is the first time I speak in public in front of everybody here. I'm really glad to join this team. I'm learning a lot, like the other participant just mentioned. Since you're talking about, I'm learning a lot from you, and this is what I mentioned in the Padlet page. This is the aim behind joining this group. And mainly I need to grow and develop in terms of integration of math. Since you were mentioning, do you integrate math within your units of inquiry? I'm just going to give one example, and I would like to hear your feedback. We had a unit of inquiry, how we organize ourselves for grade 4. Mainly we were introducing a financial literacy for them. So we put them in a situation where they had to do a renovation for their room, their bedroom mainly, and we had to put them in a certain situation with a certain budget, and we turned it into real life where we integrated, let's say, measurement, area and perimeter, and they had to go through different process in order to work on their task, where they have, for example, start by looking at the room, taking, let's say, what things they need to add to the room, taking measurements, and then go to certain places where they choose, for example, if they need a single bed or all the furniture, and we made it real life for them, and they have to document it, sketch it at first, go and visit places and take the budget according to their budget. And then, since we're talking later on about project-based and STEM, technology was integrated after they sketch their room. They had to use one digital tool, which is called like floor planner. So they turned their design into 3D before, for example, later on, where they can see all the final things that they did from budgeting, purchasing, choosing the colors of their wall. And this was one example of integration. Thank you.
I think we need to share the presentation.
Thanks,
also, right?
Rima. That was beautiful. I think good integration
Lovely.
happened there.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So that brings us to, as we have very less time left, that brings us to one last question. We can collaborate and put our thoughts in the chat itself. How do we ensure equity in math lessons? How do we ensure the equitable learning environment for every child in our class? If everybody could just share
So we
their thoughts
share
on
it
this.
orally.
In the Padlet,
I think
you can
that's
share it
better.
on the Padlet. You can
Yeah,
share it on the Padlet.
We can talk about it here.
Then we have only 2.5 minutes, so yeah, we'll have to really rush. The meeting will get
Okay.
over.
No,
We'll
we have
just
5
end on
minutes.
us.
Don't worry.
Oh, it
Okay.
says on
Half,
top
right,
remaining
sorry.
meeting time.
So before we end, thank you so much for joining in. It was a pleasure meeting all of you, seeing your bright faces after such a heavy day. I'm sure you all had in the school. Please keep coming for the sessions. It rejuvenates, and collaboration being our key. We are looking more and more forward to meet you all often. Thank you. Be the change to bring the change.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, please share your responses on the Padlet about this.
Sure. And for the benefit of the community, just share the peer deck, download and share so that everybody
I will, of course.
And the
And now
Padlet,
after
everybody.
today's session, yeah, Ms. Pallavi. So after today's session on the Padlet, you can also reflect on how has it changed your thinking and how will you use it in your classroom. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Also,
thank
for
you.
the next
the
week,
Padlet link in the chat.
Link of
Namita?
Padlet, please.
it's in the
Link.
chat.
I will.
We'll put it again. Next week, please, who's going to take a session? We have 1 minute. 2 people for the next week session. Volunteer, please. Teacher agency. Who wants to take? Sonia? No? Okay.
I'm a little tied up. Iske baad,
No, that's
a
okay.
little later, I will take
No
a little
problem.
later. Yeah.
7, 8 chapters, chapter number 7 and 8.
And there's only 9, so actually you can do 7, 8, 9 together because only 3
Chandrai,
lines.
end it. Chandrai and Nisha.
No,
end
no,
it.
I'm like